Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ears to the East, where it is time for, well, it's time for Neon to tell us what's going on, because there's a lot going on with one particular band.
Yes, one particular band. It is indeed. I have to get this out there because I'm so giddy for it. But it's so close where I can go see the bites. So close. The days are ticking down so slowly.
You're seeing Love Bites in London. I forget the name of the place. There's something in New Cross. Is it New Crossing?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember the place.
So I hope you find the right place when you go to see them. Imagine you're like, I wanted to see them. I'm at the
I
wrong
know,
place.
I know, I know. I'm hopefully I will find the right place. I got some people and subscribers I'm going with anyway, so it should be a fun day. It should be a fun day.
But
But
there's two big bits of news with them, no?
there is two big bits of news. The first that I want to get on to is they kind of teasing something. They haven't exactly said what they're teasing, but as of the time right now, we look on their Twitters and stuff like that. There's lots of posts from Miyako, from Midori, kind of like, oh, we're doing something whilst obviously entering a recording studio and the door being closed behind them and stuff like that, which could only mean, well, it could mean multiple things, but it can only mean one thing that we hope it means.
Brand new Bluegrass album. Sorry.
It could work. It could work. It could work. Hillbilly Love Bites is on the way.
Yeah.
Hopefully the teasers mean that there's a new album on the way. I'm actually kind of genuinely a little bit surprised by this. Not so much surprised by the output because the girls seem to be pumping new songs out like every year and a half to 2 years. They have been very consistent now for a very, very long time, which shows their work ethic. Even when like Miyako was pregnant, it didn't feel like it was a stopgap between their songs or their
Yeah.
consistency of coming out at regular intervals. I actually thought with the Fammy um
Edition.
inclusion and then getting this new album out the way, that's just come Judgment Day. I thought that there would be a few more tours, and then I was thinking like maybe 2 years, 2.5 years, we might see something. So this is actually the teasers of styles. So we might not actually see something for like another at least a year. But the fact that they're teasing that so soon and now they're touring and stuff like that, um, I'm just generally surprised. These girls have just got a work ethic. Like, I don't feel like I've
I
seen in many bands.
I think it needs to be also complimented, the fact that when you look at the way they're doing this, um, like you say, it's amazing the amount of workload that they're churning through at the rate they are, and they're covering so many places. They're going to so many different countries as well, which regardless of the number of tour dates, they're covering a huge span of the globe.
Mm.
They're working on the music, but I think there's also that extra element. Now, I don't know. This may or may not be a factor, but I think when you have a new member in the group, especially considering obviously the relevance of the former bassist and the family's replacement and the significance of that, it's even going to go one or two ways. It's either going to be like, oh, if a new person comes in and you kind of struggle to adjust, or a new person comes in and they just reinvigorate everything. And as we've said so many times on this channel, the one thing that we always said was that Fami, both in the way they chose her and the person that they chose, was perfect. She reinvigorated the group. She both fitted and she was different enough to be the oddball, as that wonderful first photograph showed. And I think that in this case, I think they're still running off of that high, that energy of having this new person and probably a new system when they go in the studio. Obviously, Judgment Day, from what I know, Love Bite fans, I'm sure, jump in, give me a bit of correction here. But as far as I'm aware, certain elements of that had been written before Fami's inclusion in the group. Whereas this will be the first album where Fami will have, as far as I'm aware, first album where she'll have say all the way up from the beginning of the writing process, all the way through the recording. Yeah, adding her bits, she will be not just the wonderful little dose of interesting flavor on top. She'll actually be one of the primary ingredients in the creation of the album. So yeah, I'm genuinely excited because I thought Judgment Day was such an interesting step. Again, like Fami's inclusion, both in line with what we know of Love Bites, but also giving it a shot of something interesting in its arm. The yeah, I can't help but feel that this album is an opportunity to capitalize on growing that halfway, and who knows? I mean, they're a group with so much talent. Who knows what they could expand into? Personally, one thing I will add is that I love what they do, and I love how much variation they find within the sound that they have. But I would be excited to see if they go into a slightly different territory. I'd like if this album just has some random mid-tempo songs in the middle of it somewhere, which just like when no one expects, or something like that, just to like throw us for a little bit of a confusion. But I'm always one for chaos. Every time a group
Mm.
comes out with a new song, I always want to hear that chaotic song that doesn't fit in with the rest.
Yeah, I feel like the song structures and the songwriting changed a little bit with Judgment Day, where it
Yeah.
came, where Love Bites kind of like periodically had that thrash metal feel to it. Judgment Day felt very much more, I think I want to say classically written. It was very structured, almost just like heavy metal, kind of like 80s metal in the way that it
Miyako
was like.
influence, maybe?
I think so. I think this is where we saw probably the biggest leap between the difference between Mio taking control, taking writing duties here, and maybe more of like a Miyako Midori influence kind of
Okay.
shining through with Judgment Day. So I would like to see that evolve yet again, and hopefully Fami will have that input where she'll have certain things that she hopefully would like to put into songs, and I hope she gets that creative input to do that. I like what you put about being revigorated and stuff like that, and coming out so soon, and
Mm.
wanting to push Fami, and I like that concept of the idea, which makes me actually way more excited for something new now that you've said
Yeah.
that, because I'm kind of thinking of that and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, and just the thought of the girls being excited makes me excited, for the music as well.
Yeah, I think that there is a lot of it is, I mean, again, when you bring someone into a group, if everything goes right and you just know they're the right person, everything clicks, then yeah, it refreshes everyone because everyone wants to. I guess you could say in a rather simplified way, but I think there's a truth. Just we're all humans. I think that the new member obviously wants to prove themselves to the group, but I think all the group want to prove themselves to the new member as well. They want to sort of like show how good they are. You know, everyone's like introducing her into the roles. And when you introduce someone into your band, you take a look at your band, you take a look at where it's structured, you take a look at what everyone does because you have to see it through those fresh eyes. So I think if you integrate someone into a group really well, which doesn't happen that often, but seems to have
Yeah.
happened with them, then I think it can really be a shot in the arm and it can really sort of refresh your view of yourself as a band. So this is why I'm kind of hopeful to see if Love Bites going to take some left turns on this album that maybe no one expects, but maybe could be exciting little elements of variation. But I'm sure the things we know them for, like the
Mm.
thumping beats and the noodling
Well,
guitars, they're all going to be in there beautifully.
yeah, I think this is going to be a point maybe where more pressure is going to be on the back of Miyako here. I feel because, well, like I said, with earlier Love Bites, you definitely heard that Mio thrashy heavy metal influence that she liked to go for, and then as the
Hmm.
band evolved, Miyako kind of came in. You get that more of that classical metal as well, and then now obviously Mio's gone, and that no one's backwards and forwards. We've heard what Miyako can do with Judgment Day. Whether or not she's had some help or not, I'm not 100% sure. But as far as I'm aware, most of the songwriting and song structure was done by Miyako. It would be interesting to now to see kind of where she goes. If because she certainly has the skill set to make amazing songs. I just wondering if she has
Yeah.
the nuance
Well,
to
that's what come from the band, won't it? I mean,
yeah.
that should be what comes from the band's implementation of their own little bits of musical creativity. I think
Mm,
that's a popular thing with a lot of the bands that we follow on this channel is that like one person will be the core songwriter, and then even whether it be for the band or whether it be for individual songs, then everyone else will add their own color.
mm,
There's a certain parallel to be had between that and Gatrick Spin. I mean, Gatrick Spin, one of the few other examples where a new member came in and it just reinvigorated them. They clearly took a look at themselves and they didn't stop being themselves. They just found a new way to wear that label.
mm.
Um,
Yeah, I think as well for Miyako, where the pressure kind of really stems from is she's able to write these songs. Like I said, she's got the skill set for it. She's proven that she can do it. It's just whether or not she can break her own kind of like way of writing songs that she can mix it up herself enough. Because you can with any popular band. you can, if you find your sound and everybody enjoys, you can do it once, you can do it twice, and you can get away with it. Once it starts kind of like becoming a little bit repetitive, there's a
The
bit,
law of diminishing returns
yeah, the
starts
law,
kicking
yeah,
in.
that you tend to regress instead of progress. And I have absolutely zero doubts that Miyako is definitely capable of that, but there's still going to be that little bit of anxiety for me as a Love
But
Bites fan that I'm like, I want, hopefully the band will continue to progress.
it is though, no, it is a fair question though, and it's obviously it's not meant or even it doesn't really imply any disrespect. It's just a honest thing that every writer has a limit somewhere. You get some writers who write multiple genres fluently. You get some who just about go into that. But there's no writer who is perfect in every genre. And of course, how wide your bracket of skills is doesn't make you any worse a writer. It's just like, whether you are a writer who specializes or whether you're more of a diverse writer. Now, of course, like a lot of what Love Bites' career has been based on is that they found a sound that their audience loved, that they love, and they've been really good at capitalizing on doing it again and again and again, but without ever sounding repetitive, as you said. They're so good at like doing not, I wouldn't even call it a formula, but sticking to certain things that they know are part of their sound without just sounding like they're retreading ground. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's like in this situation, especially now if Miyako's taking the brunt of the work, her depth of creativity is going to be the thing that's most under pressure here. So it is a question of how does she respond to that? Does she dig in and find new creative ways to bring people the sound that they already love, or does she feel more comfortable expanding into trying new sounds to vary out the Love Bites kind of famed style? So yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you can
it's
go one or
it's
two
an
ways with that,
interesting one moving
or
forward.
both.
Like I said, I got zero freaking doubt that I think Miyako will absolutely smash it out of the park. But there is that little seed of doubt that I hope that she doesn't fall that into the trap, because there's artists that I personally love
Yeah.
who I freaking dote on that have fallen into that trap where they're like, oh, this works, so let's just do the same again, and you're like, that's good. But I don't know. Maybe people can comment down below on what they preferred. Like, if you're a fan, do you just like the same stuff all over and over again, or do you like a band to revolve over time?
We've had
Um,
this conversation actually in interesting ways with different people in the comments,
mhm.
but I've noticed that you get some people who like they say, "Well, look, I love this band because I like what I found, and so why would I want them to be anything but that thing?" Then you got people like me who are the opposite, who are like, "Well, I like this band because I respect the way they work," which means if they don't keep on using it to create new things, then as far as I'm concerned, they're not using that skill that I liked them for, that
Yeah,
ability to write. And then
people
you get some
change
people
as
who are
well. Like,
that's
you're not the same person you were 10 years ago, and you like me and you won't be the same people we are 10 years from now. We'll have different tastes
Oh,
and
I intend
vibes.
to. I'm going to go Walt Disney and cryogenically freeze myself. Not the other stuff Walt Disney did, but I'm not going to get into all of that dark stuff. As well. No, 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 no. I'm not going. Should separate myself from Walt Disney quickly.
Give
Don't
it
worry,
another
I don't
10.
have
Give
anywhere
it.
near enough money to be.
I was going to say, give it another 10 years, mate. If they keep pumping out Star Wars
I hope that's
duds,
not what you were referring to.
Disney won't even fucking exist.
I won't buy Star Wars. I'll find myself some big YouTube channels to buy.
Exactly. Another thing I want to talk about as well, obviously, Love Bites touring most of Europe, which is
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal. But there's
Well, for you it is, yeah.
for me it is, but for a lot of people, not so much. This is one of the things I want to come down to. They've been obviously not as many tour dates as we would have liked, very far and few between, but also the ones that are there, really small venues, like incredibly small venues for a lot of these gigs, and a lot of the shows are being sold out rather quickly. And
Well, I mean, so the first that I just to cover what because we had a hypothesis on this when we spoke about this a couple of months ago, before we'd had obviously a few more months to see what developments came out. And I know I said at the time that I had a theory that it could be a case of, well, some bands deliberately play to smaller venues so that they can show that they did a sold out overseas tour. There's less pressure. They can say that we did an overseas tour and we sold out every venue if you deliberately played a venues too small for you. But I think it was you who came back like a week or so later and pointed out that actually they're, they're really kind of like they're leaning into like really small venues, like
Really
really small.
small venues. Yeah,
Um,
I can only assume it's a choice at this point because I can't believe how many shows. And I know a lot of people, and a lot of people are like, yeah, I've got tickets, but then a lot of people are missing out because they're like, I just can't get tickets for this like 400 capacity show. And it would make more sense to do like a 400 capacity show if like they were maybe toured last year, but they haven't toured since 2018 or 19 or whatever it was. It's been a long ass time, and their
funny thing
popularity has only
is,
grown. So
yeah.
they're
Oh, massively since 20, I mean,
massively since then.
2019. I remember in 2019, like I think it was January or February 2019 was the first time I did a reaction video back when I was doing those two Love Bites. And I remember the music video I responded to basically just looked like them walking around the record company office. Because like none of the like big visuals and the acting and the churches and the lighting effects, it was just them walking around an office having an argument with a dude. I was like, pretty raw. They come a long way since then.
They've come a
They
long
come a
way
long
since
way since
then.
then. But I mean, the funny thing is that like a lot of the time you get like those small venues are peppered between large ones. Now, I know that Love Bites, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Love Bites are booked into a couple of festivals.
Festivals in
Do
between,
you
yeah.
think that's really all it's going to be, or do you think if they look at the ticket sales and they're happy, they'll book a big venue to do a big show somewhere in
Um,
between?
going back to what we were saying before as well, like if
Yeah,
you'd
sorry.
asked me this question before I found out about the teasers, I would have been very
Mm.
disappointed, and I would have just said it just seems like a money saving thing that they're coming to do the festivals, pepper in some small venues, and then that way they can sell it as a success, like you said. But I'm gonna presume to look at this in a slightly different way now and say that they're coming, touring, testing the waters, and then going back, probably releasing this album in probably the next year. And hopefully they will be back with a new album under their belt for a bigger tour. Or at
Yeah.
least I hope it won't be 5 fucking years until we see them again, you know?
Well,
So
just try not to spread any of your weird monkey diseases again, and we'll be fine.
you can't say that just because I'm Scouse. I told you, man. So so I'm gonna try and spin it in a positive light, and I'm gonna say they may be underselling this tour on purpose now, knowing that they could be back in a year. That's how I'm gonna choose to see it. Could be completely wrong there, but
I mean, so long as they make, I mean, it's hard to make like make any bank off of this kind of thing, but so long as they make the ends meet and they don't end up making a net loss, as long as everyone basically makes their minimum wage income by the end of it, then I think they'll be happy just because of the fact that, I mean, apart from anything else, it's hard to quantify this. But there's also the aspect of if you do like those little shows. I mean, you mentioned when we were talking about, I think it's a new crossing you're going to. You were mentioning, and I think you made a good point, was like, what if, and actually now I think about the new album possibly will lean into this. What if they're picking a small venue because they want to bring a camera crew and record a music video in front of a live audience, and a smaller audience obviously is much more dynamic and interesting for a music video, unless you're going to do one of those paid metal ones where you've got like 30 billion people. And it's like that could well be it. They could have a new song and they're going to film people reacting to it, either for a live thing or so they can footage for a B-roll for a music video.
that
It
was
could
my
well be
initial
that.
thought when it was just the London date that they announced with like nothing else yet. Like my initial thought was that's gonna be a music video. Like that was my first thought, was like that feels to me like they're gonna be recording something in there.
But
But
but that
now,
could lean into something else, which is that
mm,
obviously we're looking at maybe a bit old-fashioned. Maybe what they're really doing is that they're just aware that if they got like a venue like that and people film them, there's going to be a lot of up close videos of them performing in small venues, which
mm,
let them spread online rather than just, most bands, you look for videos on online, it's someone who filmed it for like 50 rows back or something. And like the artist is a dot on the stage. And really what you're looking at is them filming the video screen showing them. And, so it's like,
mm.
you get a lot of that. It's like, but Love Bites will just be like, well, look, we got a bunch of people uploading videos online of us playing with the camera like 5 feet from our face. I used to see
Maybe.
right next to a video.
Hopefully, I will be one of those people.
Oh, you will be. You will
Oh
be.
yeah, I'm gonna try and get to the front as soon as I can. I'm gonna be
Did you get
fighting
your
like
wedding ring yet?
I got two. I've got two. I'm gonna opposed to Fami and Midori at the same time.
Everyone
So
knows that's the best way to get a woman. Just remind her right in front of her face, well, your friend's my backup.
hasn't failed me yet.
How many wives have you got?
None. But that's not the
Yay!
point. Yeah, like, oh, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm kind of excited that I'm actually, as a fan, as well. I'm kind of excited that it's just, that it's a small venue, because I like the fact that I'm going to be a little bit more up close and personal. Or even if I'm chucked all the way to the back, I'm going to be relatively in the mix for this experience, you know, to see them perform as well. So in that kind of way, really, really good.
In all fairness, if you're across the road from the venue, you're going to be closer to most people ever get to Love Bites. So,
exactly, exactly. So, you know, it could come off as a good thing. I think for the experience, I think for a lot of people, it's going to be a good thing. Maybe that's what they're aiming for. Maybe instead of like massive gigs where there's maybe a little bit of trouble and kind of dilutes the performance maybe a little bit, they for fuck it, let's just do small, intimate venues so we can really interact with the people, you know, that come and see us. Maybe that was the plan all along. I just think they grossly underestimated the amount of people that probably wanted to go and see them.
yeah, I think it's probably six of one, half a dozen of the other. I think that you're probably right that they underestimated this situation to a certain degree. But these companies, I mean, ultimately their whole thing is to make money, and they'll slowly like converge on whatever idea is the best way of making money. So in this particular case, if they were looking at it and they were seeing, look, okay, these tickets are selling out ridiculously quick. It's like we are getting way more. Then they'd be adding extra venues that were like 3 times the size just to mop up some extra money. If they were like, look, we can get a much bigger venue and we'll still sell it out, they'd do it. So there's got to be some reason. It could be scheduling, it could be contractual, maybe that they've like signed a contract with a promoter who insists on getting them into these smaller venues. Who knows what it could be? But ultimately, there's going to be some reason behind it. And that reason is going to allow you to stand right in front of Love Bites, waving your face around like a madman and appearing in the inevitable music video.
Oh, here's hoping. Here's hoping. I can't wait to pick up some merch as well. That's the thing I'm waiting for. Like I already told the girlfriend, I'm like, I'm really sorry about the bank account when Love Bites. I go and see Love Bites because I am gonna make sure I get fucking merched up in that show.
All right.
I am trying. I am
Can children eat sand? No.
They got no choice. I will shovel that into their mouth. Papa needs a Love Bite shirt.
And please look in the description below for the number for social services.
Oh, God. Yeah, it's like impossible to find a Love Bite shirt. Like, unless I actually order one from Japan, which costs an arm, but I refuse to.
I'm glad you said that. I was worried you're going to say, unless I actually print one.
Yeah. There's like loads of like fake printed ones, but obviously I'm not gonna get a fake printed one. But the actual shirts from Japan, it's like 120 quid for a shirt, man. No,
Holy bumholes.
That shit, yeah, well, it's not actually the shirt's actually not that much. It's like 30 quid for the shirt. It's the fucking postage and packaging for the
What's it
shirt.
made out of? Fucking lead. So it's not chainmail.
I don't know. But yeah, no, it's ridiculously expensive to get a Love Bite shirt over here. So I'm gonna abuse that opportunity as soon as the first thing when I walk in is merch store.
At that price, you should pay for it because it seems pretty likely that one of the members is delivering it in person.
I know, right? See if I get signed as well. So,
so what would be like with your hopes for the new album, for the new tour? I think we're kind of on a similar page. We kind of want to see them continuing their current path and that, continuing this step towards slowly adding more variation, touring as they are, do every continent they can get their hands on. Their touring out, just carrying on being them. I think that's what we really want, just an expansion of what we had before.
I'd be interested to know when eventually, if they will eventually tour America. I can only assume that will be a matter of time as well. That's where the money is.
I thought they'd done it before, maybe only like 1 or 2 shows. Or...
Yeah, I can't remember exactly when they last did America. I know it's been way long since they did Europe, so that's why everybody's really excited to see them back.
Do you think
But
this might be the reason behind that episode we did the other day when we were looking at how many Spotify listeners bands had, and like Love Bites were way behind like their peers like Hannah Beer
could be,
and
could be, could be.
Band Aid and stuff.
I like, I love Love Bites.
Hmm.
But they
I can see it in
again
your name.
promotion, yeah, I know promotion wise, they definitely need to up their game. Especially considered to like Bandmade and stuff like that has been absolutely just slapping that fish until it's like raw. You know,
Nice analogy.
leaving no stone unturned in
No stone
America.
unslapped.
I know. Which I can only think it's a matter of time for them, but they have to do that. I feel like if they really want to progress popularity wise to get the same numbers as the likes of Hannah Beer, Bandmade, Baby Metal, and that's all bands that do tours that do promotion are way better than Love Bites do. I feel like Love Bites has got like a really good word of mouth. The Wolf
Yes.
Pack is absolutely amazing, like
Community is
online
strong,
and
yeah.
community, really strong community. But like promotion wise, tour wise, and stuff, there's so much improvement. Like everything that Love Bites could improve on is actually not the core sound or the music wise. It's like promotion and everything else that you don't see, which could be like way better than it actually is.
I think that's a problem a lot of bands come across. Is that sort of thing where, yeah, sometimes we talk a lot about in West, you get like people who have all of the promotion and all the advertising resources they could ever need, but they don't have any musical talent. Whereas sometimes in the Japan it's the opposite. You got like someone who's got all the
Mm.
talent they need, they got like the facilities and everything to record and make music, but no one knows how to promote it and get it out to the right people. So yeah, I think in the case of Love Bites, so long as they're getting the attention that they need from the right people and that they're getting it pushed out there. And so long as they don't sort of, end up going into one of those places where they're just sort of playing the same venues and not connecting to any new people, which is obviously the main purgatory you want to avoid, then I think the future is bright. But
All right,
yeah, so
let us know in the comments. Have you got a
yeah.
ticket to Love Bites? Are you excited to see them? Let us know in the comments if you're seeing them or not like that. Also, any thoughts, opinions on what we've been talking about as well? Again, we love scrolling through the comments and your comments as well, and just seeing generally what you guys think. We, like I said, we do really appreciate it, and yeah, thanks for watching the video, guys.
Yeah, it's the middle of the night, and I'm gonna let this video end, and I'm gonna let you guys go. But we're looking forward to reading the comments, as Neon says. So until we see you down there, remember to keep your ears to the east.
Oh my God.